left with Java objects yesterday. So today we'll be seeing from Java methods. Okay. So I'm formally introducing Java methods to you now, but like from the I think from day 2 in my examples, I have shown you the methods, how it will look and what. Okay. So formally, I will tell you what is method and what are the the access specifiers and everything. The each and every word that we add before the name and inside and everything. I'll tell you some in and outs. Okay. So for Java method, it is nothing but a functional block. Okay. So how in Java jargon we say that as method. In some other, in JavaScript and other scripting languages, you will call this as function. Okay. Both, if someone has worked, maybe you can correlate it. It is the same. Okay. So here we will call this functional block as method. So uh, so what it does, we'll be giving some behavior. Okay, if we are calling a method, we obviously will do some actions inside a method. That is why we'll be writing a method. Okay, so if you raise me a question like can't I write a operation or whatever without a method? Yes, you can. But what is the best way to write it? If in case you are needing the same behavior at many places, you need a method, right? You can, I'll tell you, you can write that behavior inside a method, and you can just call this one name of the method to achieve the behavior done. But if in case you are writing it outside without a method directly inside a main class, then you have to write sorry a main method, then you have to write it everywhere you want. Same for consider if it is a single line. Okay, that is okay, you are rewriting it some many places. Consider it is 100 lines of code, so will you be writing it in everywhere? No, that is not a good practice. Okay, so it's same, it has many advantages. If in case you have to change only one behavior in the later cases, if you are using a method, if you change in one single method, the same changes will be reflected in every place you call that method. Okay, so we have two types of methods. One is the standard library method and the second one is the user defined methods. Okay, what is a standard library method? Standard library method is nothing but, I have told you, right? In Java package itself, we will be getting some classes, and inside the classes, we will be having several methods for us to use. Okay, for example, the line that we use to print every time, right? The system.out.println. So that is a standard library method. So a system is a class, and inside that we will have this println method. Okay, so this is something which Java itself gives us. So it comes with the library. So it is called as standard library method. So we also have user defined method and how we can create it. Okay, we have created, okay, let us, okay, here you can see we have created a method with the method name my method. Okay, so the name of your method is my method. You can give anything. If you're doing some performing some calculation, you can give calculate, or you are getting some input, get input. So whatever the name you want, like some self-explanatory name. If you just give m1 m2 m3 or some kind of name like that, if someone else is referring or you yourself is referring your code after a long time, then you will not know. You have to read all those 100 or 200 lines of code that you write inside a method to know what it does. Okay, so whenever you write a method, give a meaningful name to it. So next, I'll start from public. Okay, so public, it is called as the access modifier. So I'll tell you simply what is access modifier. We'll be seeing it detail in the upcoming sessions. Okay, so access modifier is where you can access this method, like what is the scope, who are all eligible to access this method. Okay, you can tell like, you can say like that. Public, if it is public, you have written it, this method can be accessed anywhere inside the class or outside, any other class, or even from any other program. Like, you can import this package and you can use the method. This my method can be accessed. Okay, so public is nothing but it is visible to all, and every other entity can use this my method. So static. So adding a word static before means you cannot create, you don't need to create an object for this method. You can directly call this method. If it is my method, you can, if you are writing this my method inside a class, if you want to use it inside your main method to run, we have used, right, public static void main. So inside that you can just call its name, my method. Okay, you don't need any object to be created and then to call. Okay, do you remember what is object that we have learned yesterday, right? So without creating an object, usually if it is not static, you have to give object name dot and then this method name. So if it is static, you can directly call the method name. Okay, so next is void. This third is called as a return type. Okay, so what is a return type? So if you are sending some values to your method, you are expecting some return. If you are sending, for example, this is that we are not sending any value for this method. If in case assume you are you are performing some addition inside this method, okay, a plus b, and you are assigning it to c, and you want the c value. So in that case, what you will do is you will be returning, you will be adding a statement called return, and this, instead of this void, you will be adding int. Okay, that is the return type. So this int will be returning some value to the place where it is called. Okay. So next comes the modifier. This is what I have mentioning you as an access modifier. So, just a detail things of what I have been telling you. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, so you have some other modifiers also, which we use in common. It is public and public, private, and you have one more like protected also. So if in case you do not specify any modifier in front of your method, then it means it is by default it will take private. What do you mean by private is you can use that method only inside that class. Okay, the scope of the method inside lies inside the class. Okay, by default, if you don't deliberately give it as public, the Java will automatically take it as a private. Okay, so as I said, since you have given static, it is like you can access that method without using any object. Okay, I just have given you some different more examples. So okay, now I'll how to call a method. I'll be showing you an example later. And like method arguments and return type, yes, that will also be shown in a demo. And okay, what are the advantages of using a method? So I'll tell you this. So as I have told you already, if you have to calculate a uh, set of values multiple times, Okay, so if you have to use the same calculation in like 10 to 12 places, you don't need to write the same code in 10 to 12 places. You can just put that code inside this method block, and you can reuse it everywhere. So it will reduce the number of code, and it will reduce the redundancy, that is the duplication. Okay, so code duplication should be avoided when you normally write a code. Okay, they in corporates they have some tools called Sonar, and to review your coding. Okay, in that case, if you have this duplication and all, it will create an issue. It is like a set of standard to avoid duplication. Okay, so if you have your Eclipse open, uh, we have written a program yesterday, right? For class and object. Just I'm using the same to explain you the methods. If you have opened it, you can follow. If not, please follow me what I'm showing you, and you can try it later also. Okay. So, um, so this is what I said. Like, this is one of the method. Turn on is a method. So what we have given here is void. We have not mentioned public static before it. Okay, so if the public is not mentioned, then this method automatically it is a private. What do you mean by private is, see, can you see when I click near this curly braces, you can see the ending, right? So if this method is written inside this block of code, then it can also be accessed only inside this block of code. Understood? So that is mean by private. It cannot be accessed anywhere else. So if you need to do it, you have to deliberately give it as public in front of it. Okay. So next one is a static. Since we don't use static here, we have accessed this turn on method with an object name. Okay. So object name dot the method name. Okay. For example, just I'll write one more. No, public static. I'll add the return type as int. Okay, int calculate. So and okay, do you see? So we have written a method here. I'm trying to use this method inside our main method. Okay, inside this block. Only if we add this, if you call this method here, you will, what to say, you will able to access this method. So we need to know whether, okay, so let us I'll call my method inside this. Okay, if I want to call my method, what I should do? Calculate and the bracket. Okay, I have told you if I have mentioned static, I don't need to mention this L1 or L2 objects. Okay, if in case like I'm trying to access with one of the object, what it will do? So it will throw me a warning. Okay, you can see this a bulb icon, right? The static method calculate from a from the type lamp should be accessed in the static way. It is not a good practice. Okay, you don't need this. Please, while coding, people will say only error is important. Give some importance to this kind of warning as well, so that your code will be clean. Okay, because after finishing all your the task that is assigned to you, and at the last, if I have told you, right, some sonar reviewing, in that if you get some errors, then all your work will go in vain. You have to change some way, the methods you have defined, the variables and everything might not go in the right order. If you change one, it will affect the other. So whenever using IDE, you see some new pop-ups like this bulb icon or some green color underliner, whatever it comes, take your mouse near to it. It itself, the IDE itself will tell you what you need to do, and you can make it, you can correct it. Okay, so let me run this code. So you see, I have called this method inside this system.out.println. So the calculation 10 plus 20 30. So I have got the value here. You understand? So if I give as void here, if it is void, it means it should this method does not return anything here. So here I have to remove this return. Okay, and since I have added this ln for the integer output, so it will not take the value of void. Okay, even if I give the proper ln, I call this method, no, I will not be getting this 30 as the output from this method, because it returns nothing. It will calculate, and the scope of the value ends here, and we will not get it in the method. So if you want in the place where you want, if you want a method to calculate and return a value, please try adding the return type and return the value. If you even like if you, as soon as you add the return type here, Java itself will force you to add a return type. What you have to return, it will default, it will ask you. See, I'll try to remove this return. Can you see, it must have a return type of int. So these prompt, your IDE itself will it will not let you make some lame mistakes like this. Okay, so this is how you will call a Java method. Okay, you write a method and you call it with the name. So next is the method arguments. You can do one more thing also. Like I have sent value a b. I have set value a b here. In some cases, what I can do is I'll set value here int a, int b. Okay, which means, let me remove it. Okay, okay, so I'm trying to call this method right here. So what I will do is I will pass some 5 comma 10. I'll pass two integer values from the place I call this method. Okay, do you understand? So what will happen is, while I call this method, this 5 will get automatically assigned to this a, and this 10 will get automatically assigned to b. And what will happen here, we have an expression called c is equal to a plus b. So this a will come here and b value will come, and we'll get the calculation. You get me? So this is how typical use of method will be. You can do a void, you can have a parameterized with method with arguments, the whatever the value you pass inside this two brackets, right, you call that as method arguments. Okay, it is not that you have to pass only a b, you can also pass this l1 l2, the object itself you can pass here. Okay, for that, if you are passing an object, you should mention object here. Okay, we can see that later. For now, you can try this. You can pass any integer value, some string value, or whatever you want, you can pass. Okay, you can pass a string and you can try printing it here. Okay, so next. Okay, so next we have constructors. So what is a constructor? So constructor is nothing but like whenever a class is invoked, an object of the class is created automatically. Okay, so how to tell you? Okay, so yes. Okay, so here we have created an object for a class, right? So L1 is an object for a class. So what it is saying here is, so every class has its constructor that is invoked automatically when an object of a class is created. So what does this constructor do? So I have shown you yesterday, right, in the variable tabular column at the right. So whenever you inspect this L1 this object, you will have all those members, I mean the class members inside it. You will see this is on. If you have added two more variables, you can see all those values inside this method. So what this constructor will do is, it will initialize all these variables with default value. Okay, so here we have given value boolean is on, just we have given boolean is on. Okay, so once the object is created, what it will do is default it will give the value false to this boolean object. Okay, so what is the default value for any boolean variable is false. So for any integer int data type variable is 0. Okay, you have some default value. So whenever you create an object, this constructor will give the default value to this to the variables or to the members inside the class. Okay, so the structure of the uh, constructor will be similar to the method. Okay, so we have seen now, right, we have written my method. So see here, test is also the same. Okay, and the code will whatever the code you have to execute, it will go inside here. So like method body, you can write some code inside your constructor body as well. And one more thing is, if you don't write any constructor, the Java at the runtime, it will create one uh, by default it will create one. Okay, so if it is same like the the method, in what way we can differentiate between a method and a constructor? So if always the constructor will have the same name as the class name. Okay, the name should be same. Okay, then the return type, the constructor will not have any return type. Okay, obviously for our method we should have a return type. If there is no return type, we will give the value void. Okay, so this way you can find the difference between both. And this constructor, you cannot call it anywhere. Okay, it is just inside the class. So next is types of constructor. So we have three types of constructors. One is no argument constructor, default constructor, and the parameterized constructor. Okay, so what is no argument constructor? Okay, so I have told you while explaining method what is the meaning of arguments. So whatever the value that you pass between between this parenthesis, whatever value you are sending, it is called as the arguments. So by the name itself you can understand if it is no argument, so obviously this bracket is going to be empty. Okay, just the open and close. Okay. So here the class name is main. So excuse me. So the class name is main, and the constructor name is also main. So not just the spelling, the typecasting also. If it is capital M, it has to be capital M here also. So we have our public static void main, the the project initialization part here. Okay, so we have a main method here. Okay, so what it will do is we are trying to create one object, right? So whenever we create an object, do you remember the syntax for creating an object? The class name, the object name is equal to new, the class name, the bracket we have mentioned, right? So what is this class name bracket is? This is the constructor. You understand? So what it does is, I have told you that it will create one copy of all the members inside your class, and it will assign the default value to all the variables and whatever you have mentioned inside the class, right? So what it will do is, what we are trying to do is, like we are creating an object of main type and new, and we are calling the constructor, and constructor will do its work. Okay. So here in this constructor, you can see, right, the values inside the constructor, we have defined the value as 5, and we have also added a print statement. So what it will happen if we don't give any of this line here, the I value might have been initialized as 0. Okay, but now we are initializing the I value as 5. So these things we can do all these things inside the constructor. So whenever you are creating an object, if you have to do some set of code, like maybe how to tell you, you might have one more object, like something maybe related to this object, you might have one more. So whenever you create one new object of this class, you have to refresh the value, you have to clear the value. So if you have such conditions, you can add all those things inside this. Okay, or just you have to intimate an user with an with an a message like, okay, you have created a new object, or hi, hello, or whatever, so you can do it inside this code. So uh, mostly a good practice is not to write so much of code inside the constructor. Okay, that also you have to keep in mind. So next is the default constructor. As I have told you, if you don't create a constructor, okay, I'm creating a Java class. So as far as till yesterday, whatever the class we have created, we have not add any constructor inside the class. So in that case, while we are trying to run the Java program, what the Java compiler would have done is, it might have created an constructor internally. Okay, so this internally constructed default constructor is called the default constructor. So what is the structure of this default constructor is, it will be no argument constructor. Okay, which means the constructor, I mean the class name, then followed by the empty parenthesis. Do you remember the first type of constructor that we discussed? Okay, so the default constructor will be created when you don't write your constructor in a class, and that default constructor will be a no argument constructor. Okay, so in that case, all the values, I have told you, right? So all the values inside your class will get assigned with the default data type values. If it is Boolean, false; if it is integer, 0; if it is character, the Unicode of /600, you have some values. So those things will be given to, it will be initialized with those values. Okay. So next we have parameterized constructor. So parameterized constructor is nothing but, see, the values, the arguments we pass here, right, is the argument 1, argument 2, till argument how many ever you want. Okay, we altogether we call this as parameters. Okay, since we are passing the parameters into this constructor is called as parameterized constructor. So it is nothing new. Okay, we have seen in method, right? I have passed an int value, int a, b. When I call those, when I'm trying to call this from the main method, we have passed some 10, 5 value, right? In the same way, you can use this constructor. Understood? So until this, I'll show you a small demo, a quick demo. Okay, so for the constructor simple example, so we have created a class. Okay, so this is the class and this is the constructor. Okay, I have given the access specifier as public. So as we have learned, we should not give any return type, a return type for the constructor. So I have not given any. So if you give any return type, it will be taken as method. Okay. So next, when this constructor is called is here. So constructor example. So this is the object that I'm going to create. So new constructor example. Okay, this is the constructor name that we have given. Okay, you understand? So when I try to print this, so you see, so new company object is created. So object dot topic name. So initially in this inside this class, only the how to say, variable is declared, no value is assigned to it. The value assignment of this variable is done inside the constructor. Okay, so when I try to get I have created the object. So what will happen while creating the object, this constructor value will get assigned to this topic name. So when I try to print this, I'm getting the constructor here. Whatever the text that I have given, it is getting printed here. Okay. So I have given one more example for parameterized constructor. So I have just added one value here. So the same, this is the constructor name, and I have given one, argument inside. So this is what they call as parameters. Okay. So here what will happen? So string, this is the data type. Okay, you can give integer, double, or whatever you want. So I want to pass a string value. So I have declared the data type as string, and this is just a variable name. Okay, it can be any. So what I'm trying to do is when we are creating an object while calling this constructor, obviously we have to pass some value here. That value will get assigned to this topic name. Okay, let us see how that has been assigned. So inside the main method, I'm initializing a string with value hello new constructor. Okay, and in this constructor example, this is what I'm trying to create an object. Okay, so while trying to create an object, class name, object name, new, the constructor, and I want to pass some string value as the argument. So what I'm doing, I'm passing this new value here. Okay. If you want, you can directly pass the value as well. Okay. I'm just assigning it to one variable and I'm passing it. Okay. So next I'm going to try printing the value. So what you will be getting this hello new constructor here printed. Understood? So it is not a compulsory that you have to pass a same type of um, same type of parameters inside it. No, it is not like that. You can pass like multiple type of arguments, like one string and one int. You can pass like however you need, you can do it. Okay, it depends on what action you are going to perform and what output we need to get. Okay, I have just shown you a single, constructed with single parameter. You can do as like how many ever you want, you can do. It is like same like method. Okay, we did the same in method, right? We have passed two integer value to calculate. Okay. So here, okay. Here we have a concept called overloading in Java. Okay, we have the same in method also. I'll first try teaching you in constructor. It is the same in method. Okay, the concept is same. Okay, so what it is with the same name. Okay, we already know that constructor should have the same name as the class. So we are creating. Consider you are creating two. Two constructors. Okay, first is the no parameter constructor. Okay, no argument constructor, and second one with this single argument. Okay, so in arguments we are for the second one we are passing argument, but the name is same. Okay, so how what it means is the same name but it has the different behavior. Understood? So the number of arguments passed inside the number of arguments passed inside the parenthesis passed inside this brackets is different. Okay, so this is how you overload. This concept is called a constructor overloading in Java. Okay, you have method overloading. We'll tell you. We'll see you later. We see that later. Okay. For this, I have an example. The same, we have written it separately, right? Here we have the constructor with no parameters, no argument, and we had with single argument. I just combined the same. Okay. So I have created one, first object, no argument, and the second one. And here I'm calling the, constructor with arguments, like parameterized constructor here. And the second I'm calling the no argument constructor. So what happens while I call this first one, the topic name is whatever I have passed, hello new constructor. Okay. So for the second one, what it is, I'm calling the, no argument constructor. So it will go here and it will take whatever the value assigned here. Okay. Got it? I hope you have understood the topic. So with that belief, I'm moving to the next topic. Okay, Java string. Okay, so string is nothing but the sequence of characters. For character, we have the data type, primitive data type, which will take a single value A, B, C, or single character as the input. Okay, we don't have any primitive data type to take input of word. Okay, the the collection of letters, we call it word, right? Literally. So that is what they call as string in a programmatical language. Okay, for that we don't have any primitive data type, but we have we have a class written. Okay, so we are using the string class. Okay, and later, so instead, do you remember the syntax for any variable declaration with primitive data type? So what we did is int and then the name of the variable, then equal to, if you want to assign any value, we will assign, or else in the next we will end it with the semicolon, and in the next line what we will do with the name of the variable is equal to, then we will assign the value. So same, instead of int or char or boolean, we are going to replace it with string. Okay, the yes should be in capital letter. Okay, so yesterday someone has asked me doubt that they don't get it, so maybe you might have given yes in small letter or some uh, because it is very you don't need to import anything. If you just give a string, you'll be getting the output. There is nothing to go wrong. So might be you might have that case sensitive, I have told you, right? So instead of capital S, you might have given it lowercase. Okay, so next in the right you have the string methods. Okay, these are some uh, how to tell you, the inbuilt method that Java gives us to perform over the string. Okay, yesterday we have seen, right, for array we were able to check length, dot length we were able to get, right? So that way we have some methods to perform over string. So it is nothing, just for your information. Okay, so like for example, I have given text 1 is equal to hello, and if I try to you know if I try to get this text 1 dot length, then the output will be 5. Okay, so equals is trying, when you try to trying to compare two string whether this both are same or not, then in that case you have to give like text 1 dot equals what the next text what it is. Okay, whatever it is you have to use it. So these are some repeatedly you'll be using this. Okay, mostly we'll use a substring, equals, concatenate, not very rare, but it is often it is used but very rare. Okay, it depends on project, but equal, substring, replace, then length, these are the thing that you'll come across, you'll be coming across all these functions often. Okay, so anyway, like you will have to compare two things, and when you do some comparative conditional operators, like do you remember our if conditions we have checked, right? So during checking those conditions, right, so in that case you need this equals, substring. Okay, so these are some repeatedly and some useful method that you can you don't need to memorize, but you must know, like just keep in mind that we have some predefined method to check equals. So if you remind that, when if you want to if you want to write a code, you can directly search. Only if you know it is available, you will search, right? Or else, like, to achieve this functionality, we'll straightly go into we need to code something to achieve this. Okay, so I'm just showing you all this so you can have introduction to all these functions. So next is the access modifiers. I have already told you that we will see this, right? So there are 4 access modifiers. So first is the default. So if we do not, explicitly mention any access modifier to any method or any how to say, to any variable, then it itself consider that as a default access modifier. The behavior will be private. Okay, the access modifier, the name it will take as default, the behavior will be private, which means it is visible only inside the classes that is defined. Okay. Okay, understood. So next is the private access modifier. So when you, in some cases, we will deliberately give it as private. Okay. So if we give the, you know, keyword as private, I mean the access modifier as private. So it is clear, it is visible that, okay, this can be the variable or the method or whatever, it could be used only within the class and not outside it. Okay, next is the protected. So what is protected? So I'll explain you now. Maybe you will understand this when we learn the inheritance concept. Okay, so if you give any method or any variable with the access modifier protected, then that particular member can be accessed within the class and also with the subclass. Okay, so what is mean by subclasses? Like you can have a relation like parent child relation. Okay, so your parent is the main class and you are the subclass. Okay, whatever belong to your parent, it automatically belong to you, right? So that is what protected is. Obviously it is not accessible by others until and then we are giving them permission, right? So that is how the protected works. Okay, so next is the public access modifier. As I have told, public access modifier is nothing but it has no restriction in scope. So if you are giving it in this in one class, class A, it can be accessed from class B, class C, or even from the other package. Okay, you have to, what you have to do is just import this package inside the one, and you can access the same whatever the method or variable declare as public, you can use it. Understood? So here, just I have given a tabular column for you to easily differentiate what is what instead of reading very big paragraph or anything. Maybe while I share you the PPT, when you want to just revise this access modifier, you can go through it. Okay, so here can you see in the diagram? So if something is mentioned as protected, so it can be used inside the class. Okay, so child class inside the same folder. Okay, so this is the child class. So wherever the child class is, it can be used. Okay, not just inside the package. Only it needs the parent-child relation. Okay, so the child class inside the same package can also be used. Child, class inside any other package also can be used. Okay, so next is the private. Private is only inside that particular class. Okay. So then default is only inside the class, but if in case it has a child class, it can also be used. Okay. Then public, as public I have mentioned, you can use it anywhere inside your project. So the visibility, the scope of the visibility is like everywhere. You can literally use it, say it like that. So from any place you can access it. So next is we haven't seen this topic so far. Okay, we have a keyword called this in Java. Okay, so simply what this means is, okay, the current object. To keep in simply to keep in mind, you can use it as you can remember it as a current object. So wherever you use this, if you use it inside a constructor, then this this indicates what the current object, whatever the object is alive, it will indicate this. Okay, you will find more this in my explanation, please don't get confused. uh, then if you are using this keyword inside a method, so whatever the method you call, even in that place, what object is active, whatever the object is alive, that is what this mentions. Okay, this will also refer to the same. Okay, so I'll just give you an example for it. I'll just show you an example for it. Mm, okay, give a minute. Okay, okay, here it is. So can you see I have just written the same, given the same snippet here. So we are writing a class main. Okay, we are writing a constructor here. So constructor with one parameter. Okay, so here this dot instant variable instvar, okay, the variable, okay, is equal to uh, instvar, which means the value that we are going to pass inside this variable. Okay, when you call this object. Okay, so whatever you when you call this create an object with the constructor, whatever value you are going to pass, that will get assigned to this variable. Okay, then we are trying to print this. Okay, so the same in the main method, what we are doing, we are creating an object and we are passing values.